Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to F1 Manager 23, round 10 of our first season with the game with Mercedes. We're heading to Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix. And this is a sprint weekend, so two races tonight, kind of. We've got the revised sprint regulations from last season. So we'll have practice 1, and then we'll have sprint qualifying on the Friday. Then on the Saturday we'll have practice 2, where the only thing we'll really be able to do is tweak the front wing, because the car will be locked into Parc Fermé by that point. And obviously improve our car part knowledge and track knowledge. And then on the Saturday we'll have the sprint race, and the sprint race will then determine the starting order for the race itself. Not really the way it works in reality. That's how it worked last season. They changed the rules for this season, but it was too late to get that implemented in the game. But we'll make the most of it. Let's see if we can do better at this sprint than we did at Baku. Baku, we actually had a pretty decent run, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can maybe do well here at Austria. We have got some new parts for Lewis. We just didn't have enough time to get them manufactured for both cars and have enough spare parts available. As I said, we are going to be locked into Parc Fermé regulations at the end of practice 1. So if we damage a part at any point from then on, we can't downgrade to a previous spec. We have to replace it with a like-for-like spec, and if we don't have a spare part, that means it forces us to emergency manufacture, which is horrendously expensive. And considering how much of our cost cap we've already eaten into, we really need to minimize situations where that's going to come into effect. So let's see exactly what the difference is between our two cars. If we go into analysis, we're going to partner up this way and then change car to car 2, which is Lewis's car, and there you can see the little differences between the two cars as we go into this Grand Prix weekend. So a little bit higher top speed for Lewis, and slightly, and I do mean slightly, better acceleration. It's really hard to tell, but there is a fraction of an improvement on the acceleration there. A little bit more in terms of downforce and dirty air tolerance. A little bit improved brake cooling. Slightly less weight on the car, but unfortunately this has come at a cost of reducing the efficiency of our engine cooling, which wasn't great to start with. So yeah, this will allow Lewis to run a little bit quicker across the track in terms of speed, acceleration, cornering speeds. The brakes will be a bit more, well, quite a bit more efficient, but the engine's going to have to work harder in the process. And then we will have these spare parts, hopefully all of the missing spare parts for George for the next Grand Prix, which is Silverstone. So it'd be very nice to have both of our British drivers running the same spec at that point. Let's see. In terms of car part development, this is where we sit at the moment. We've got a new rear wing design going through. That is a design with lots of hours on it. So that will hopefully give us a nice good performance boost when it arrives. We've also started researching with chassis as well, as you can see, for next season. These are the manufacturing projects that we have going right now. We've got 4 separate projects going to manufacture some spare parts. And then we don't quite have enough money yet to be able to start any more research projects, even though we've got 2 slots available. We just don't have enough cash on hand, so we're going to have to wait till after the Austrian Grand Prix and use our sponsorship money from that weekend to go ahead and start another couple of research projects here. Our drivers are all up to date. Let's just take a quick look at our driver stats. There you can see George Russell's stats, and if we do a comparison against Lewis, you can see Lewis has the beating of George on almost all of the stats there. Reactions only fractionally better for George. He has got better accuracy, which I'm surprised by, considering how big a gap that is. And the adaptability is better for George, which again just seems a bit wrong for me. I mean, Lewis is renowned for his wet weather driving skill. George is good, but he's got a lot less experience in the rain, and yeah, I think 96 is a bit high for George there. But everywhere else, Lewis is beating him, which is why we are prioritising Lewis at the moment in situations like this. He is the quicker driver, and that's borne out across the previous races where he's generally qualified a couple of tenths faster than his teammate pretty much all season. He's generally been a tenth or two faster per lap in the race. And so the plan has always been put Lewis in front of George and use him as a slipstream effect for George to help pull George further up the field. Hasn't always worked out that way. Sometimes Lewis has had a wobble and George has ascended up the order a little bit. Until there's a little bit more parity, we will continue with the techniques and tactics that we've been using so far. But as I say, as the gap declines between the two drivers, we will start treating them a lot more equally than we have been doing, and with a view to maybe giving George preferential treatment over Lewis if Lewis's stats start to decline. We shall see. Right, let's have a look at our facilities. We're currently upgrading the boardroom. The race simulator is just 8 days away from hitting its final level, and the team hub, I think, is going to level 4. Yes, level 4. So that will be good for boosting our staff. That is 15 days away. Everything else, there's nothing really here we need to do in operationals. Because our objectives are really tough for this season, I've just given the board a little bit of a distraction with a shiny new executive toy here to keep them distracted from the fact that we're not winning any races yet. And in terms of car development, we just can't afford any of these at the moment. Maybe towards the end of the season we can look at upping one of these. I think maybe the CFD might be the next one that we work on, or possibly the suspension simulator. We shall see. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slog in the second half of this season. I can just feel it. So we've got some scouting going on, looking at some race engineers, so we can consider our options for our second engineer seat. Obviously, we're going to keep Bono for next season. He's, I think we've already offered him a contract. I'm not sure. We might not have actually offered him a contract yet. We have got Marcus Dudley, who is George's engineer, but I'm just looking to see if there's any better options out there, and to see if we can maybe find a better engineer to run for George. I don't know. We might well end up sticking with Marcus. We shall see how things go. Technical chief is staying put, but again, we may potentially towards the end of the season look at replacing Jared Murphy. I don't know. He's rated a lot better this year than he was last year. So yeah, we might keep Jared. We might potentially look at swapping him out. We'll see how that goes. I think we are ready to go straight to the Grand Prix weekend. Have we set our objectives? Let's have a look. No, we haven't. Okay, let's set our race objectives then. I'm going to be, again, a little bit more cautious with some of our objectives. It's nice to earn some extra money, but I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, because that's going to cost us money. So we're going to try and get 2 drivers to finish in the top 8. And I'm assuming that this is for the actual race itself, not the sprint, because I think the sprint counts as quali. Again, I'm not sure about the quali here either as well, whether this is going to cover sprint quali or if this is actually going to cover where we finish. It's got to be sprint quali, hasn't it? Because there is no actual quali for the main race itself. That is the sprint race. So yeah, this has got to cover sprint qualification, I would imagine. And that's going to be really important for us to get the car dialed in as quickly as possible. We're going to go 2 in the top 8 for 5 races on our quali streak. Should hopefully be able to manage that, unless we have another moment like we did at Canada, where we go out on the wrong tyres and lose multiple seconds a lap. And looking at the weather, we have some rain scheduled for Saturday, so that could be for the second practice, it could be for the sprint, it could be for both. We will not know until we actually get to each of those sessions whether there's going to be rain or not. But rain in the sprint could make things interesting. Would potentially give us some more flexibility with tyres for the main race as well. Right, cars are set, drivers are all done, staff is all good, objectives are set. Let's go. Oh, hang on, we've still got a little bit of email work to do. Let's have a look. Race prep, we've just done our race prep. Upcoming board review, it's in 1 month. The board currently has medium confidence in our leadership. Well, the board's nice shiny new boardroom will be ready before then, so hopefully that will sway things in our favour. We shall see. But let's head to the Austrian Grand Prix.
Welcome along to the spectacular setting of Austria. The hills are alive with the roar of F1 cars as we arrive in Spielberg's stunning natural surroundings. Fans have already filled the nearby campsites, and it's going to be a busy weekend here at the Red Bull Ring. Spielberg's challenges are all about overtaking. The DRS zones here mean passing is very possible, especially if your tyres are in a better condition than the next cars. But get caught out having to manage less than fresh tyres? You could be a sitting duck.
This time, teams have 2 races to contend with, as a sprint race will decide the starting order for the weekend's Grand Prix.
What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
All right, one thing I'm really interested to find out in this over the course of this race weekend is the AI around turns 9 and 10. In the last game, we saw cars would run wide on 9 and start coming back onto the track on that little straight between 9 and 10 next to the pit entry, and would immediately get clobbered by another car coming round, which would cause, safety cars, VSCs, occasionally a red flag, but almost always damage and penalties. I'm really curious to see whether or not we're going to see that with our updated AI, if they're going to react a little bit smarter between those 2 corners if one of them's rejoining the track, because it was a bit of a cluster a bit of a clusterfuck last year at that section if someone went off. It'd be interesting to see as well how lockups into turn 1 go and lockups into turn 3. Those are also 2 areas where cars do tend to collide on this circuit. And be interested to see if we get any carnage into turn 1 at the opening of each Grand Prix event this weekend. The sprint and the main, because we have been told that the AI is going to have an increased chance of crashing on the first corner of a Grand Prix, so we might see some action there. Right, we are going to put George in. Oh, hang on. I was going to put Mick in the car instead of George, but it's a sprint weekend, which means reduced running. This was going to be Mick's, as close to a home race for Mick as possible, and I was going to put him in, but I just can't, because we're losing an entire practice session. So I need both my drivers to run for the entirety of FP1 and FP2 after sprint quali to get their track knowledge up. Sorry, Mick. I feel bad for Mick now. Right, we're going to go medium tyres in this first session, and we'll use hards in FP2. The run run plan here is going to be 23 laps of fuel, dropping the pace. In terms of car setup, again, we haven't raced at Spielberg yet on the new game, so we're going to refer to last year's notebook. There it is. And let's have a look at some setups that we used on the last game. So I'm going to start with a 4.5, a 13, a 1.9, a 3.25, and a 1. Now we want to get this car nailed in this session if we can, because we can't make changes apart from the front wing, which is not ideal, because just changing the front wing has a massive knock-on effect on some of the other parts as well. So it's really important for us to try and get this car nailed ASAP, straight out of the gate. Same with Lewis. We're going to run with 23 laps, and we're going to drop the pace there. We're going to go with a slightly different setup. I'm going to go with a 5, a 13.5 to 8, a minus 2.95, and a 0.3. So those are the two different setups we're going to try. I don't know which of these is going to be best suited. We're probably going to have to ditch one of these quite substantially. But having a few different setups from last year to refer to should hopefully mean that once we get this first run out of the way, we can adapt very quickly and nail down the setup as close to perfect as possible. Right. Last thing to do is to swap out the good parts for the not so good parts. So we'll go with the weaker engine, and the weaker ERS, and we'll swap out. Oh, that gearbox is toast. We can't use that one. It won't last the session. So yeah, we'll have to go with that gearbox instead for George, and for Lewis, swapping out the engine. And the ERS, and we should still have one crappy gearbox that we can use. Yes, we can use that one. This here would work for a normal, like an FP3, where we don't have huge amounts of running, and we might be able to squeeze an FP3 out of George's of the gearbox, but yeah, we're going to have to use this one for this. We're going to be running for almost the entire hour, so let's send them to the track. Just give them a little bit of separation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, George.
Yeah, radio's loud and clear.
Alright, sending out Lewis. Hopefully we don't get tangled up with another car in this practice session as well.
So radio check.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, radio's loud and clear.
Alright. Let's hope things go okay. It's not a horrible track map, this one. I mean, it could be better, but I do like, again, that we've got the gravel traps on the map. And you can see the big painted Austrian flag runoff zones as well. But I do feel that they have oversimplified certain areas of the maps. And we just... a little bit more detail in them would be nice. A little less jarring colour palettes might be good as well. Like I said, some of them we've seen so far look decent. Some of them look really good. Some of them look awful. This one is an okay one.
Give us a balance check. Balance
All right,
check.
that's not encouraging. We've only got a good rating, 79%. So a few things wrong with that one. It's going to be something wrong with the roll bar and something wrong with the rear wing. I'm pretty sure of that. There'll be other things that we need to tweak as well, but they'll be the main areas that we need to work on. I'm going to call him in now.
Balance check.
95% for George, so we'll leave George out. Let him finish the run in its entirety. But for Lewis, we really want to nail this setup, because that accounts for 50% of his driver confidence level going into the weekend. So that is much more important than track knowledge. Oh, traction is fine. It's the braking stability that's wrong. So we are going to have to revert to a 13 on the rear wing. Okay, let's see what we can look at then. We're running a 2.8, so I don't have a 2.8 with a 13 rear wing in last year's book. I do have some 1.9s. So let's try that. And let's change our camber and toe levels. Let's try a 3.2. There we go. That's just a small change to the traction. Even though we've changed the roll bar, it's still just a small change to that. And let's change the toe to a 0.95. And that is too much on the front wing. Okay, let's drop the front wing down. Let's push this up to a 3.25 and a 1. Cornering looks okay. Braking looks good. Oversteer might be a touch too much. Straights, not sure. Traction looks good. Gotta really think about how we want to send this car out. The other option is to go with a 5.5, a 3.05, and a 0.95, and that is not going to work. That's too big a gap on the front wing. So I think if we're going to use one of these as a guide, I've got two 4.5s with a 13.19. One is they're both a 3.25. One is a 1, and the other is a 0.85. And out of the two, that one to me looks a bit more accurate. So we're going to go with that and hope that that nails it. That took us 19 minutes to get the feedback, get in the garage. That is kind of encouraging. It means we've got a chance of maybe making another run after this one, making changes, well, possibly making changes. It's going to take 5 minutes or so to make the changes. I don't know if we'll get time to go back out again after this second run for Lewis. So what I'm going to do is, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to throw in some extra fuel. So if we haven't got time, and if we do get the setup nailed, then at least we can keep him on track and get some more track knowledge, and also some more car part knowledge, because he is running new car parts. As you can see, his car part knowledge at 68% as opposed to 100 for George. Right, so just minor tweaks needed on this setup. Alright, let's have a look. Which way do I want to go on the camber? Maybe I don't go on the camber at all. Maybe I move the front wing. Or maybe I do both. I only need a small change. I need to find just a couple more percent. We'll try this, and we can always roll back to the 95% if this doesn't work. How you doing, Farah? Good to see you. And because we didn't do it when we first sent the cars out, we will do a lap in Russell Vision to show off helmet cam on this circuit.
Battery is seemingly depleting quite a lot.
Yeah, AFM.
Copy that, we're looking.
Guys are sliding around a lot.
Just be mindful, pressure's still low.
And there you go, there's a lap of Austria. Right. Really need to nail the setup with Lewis's car on this run if we can. Oh, it's locked up. That's not encouraging.
Now here we are tackling turn 3. And the car just locks. By that point, it was just too late.
Just doing no grip on the side, sliding everywhere.
Alright, we're close to feedback. Not quite there yet. Tyres do seem to be struggling to hold temperature. I thought they might just about hold it at this pace setting, but maybe it's because, again, we're still fuel saving as well. Just obviously mindful of wear being an issue. Yeah, Imola '94 was a very dark weekend. Barrichello had a massive crash at that circuit as well. I think in practice,
Let us know what your
maybe
thoughts are.
quali. I think it was practice. But was quite lucky to walk away relatively unscathed. Especially when you consider what happened to Senna and Ratzenberger. Right, 95%. That is definitely an improvement. We haven't got enough time to call the car in, make changes, get it back out and get a full feedback run. So we'll just leave Lewis out there. for the remainder of the session.
Surface temps still cool all round.
And 95% is a good baseline for the rest of the weekend.
Just sliding on 4 tyres.
Tyres still not warming up. All right, let's give them standard pace on their tyres. Need to keep the fuel saving going.
I got damage.
Okay, stand by.
Engines and gearboxes and ERS units are all starting to fall apart in these practice units. I wonder if this is... No, only Lewis is running the better brakes. Theoretically, improving the brake cooling will also help keep tyre temperatures under control. It did in last year's game. It should do in this one as well. Less heat is being trapped in the wheel if the brakes are being cooled better.
Feedback on your tyres.
Yeah, now tyres are ready to go.
Yeah, A firm. Yeah, you've taken the checkered flag.
Alright, we got 92%, so we did go the wrong way. This is our last opportunity to make changes to wholesale changes to the setup.
And the race weekend continues. Here we are now at qualifying.
In a format familiar to our drivers, 3 parts of qualifying will decide who sits where on the sprint race grid. A good performance today will give them a real advantage for the rest of the weekend.
Now, Karun, how do you think Zhou Guan Yu will be as he heads into this session?
They weren't as quick as I expected them to be in practice. They'll want to land better lap times than that today to earn a solid position on the starting grid.
Hold on tight, because we're getting underway.
But remembering the lesson learned from Baku, we made changes, sent them into quali, and they had almost non-existent confidence levels because they were going in with untested setups. So, with that in mind, as much as I would love to change the setup, I'm not going to. I'm going to revert back to the 95 for... Oh, actually... I'm going to make that one change to the front wing, because I did see that was optimal. No, again, it's going to... Much as I want to make changes, if I do, I am going to send them in with very low confidence. We got close. Look how close we got. But yeah, we can't send them in with confidence that's through the floor. Otherwise, they're not going to qualify all that well, and that's going to have a knock-on effect throughout the rest of the weekend. So, 95% setups it is. It's not perfect, but at the end of the day, it's not a huge issue. Not hitting 100%. It would have been nice to get that full spectrum of confidence, but it's going to be lower anyway than normal because track knowledge is going to be a lot lower, and in Lewis's case his car part knowledge is a lot lower as well. So we'll make do. Got to be careful with tyre use as well through quali. Let's see, we have got 5 sets of softs available for qualifying, but obviously the more sets we use now, the less sets we're going to have for the race. So we've got to be careful with that. Let's send them over to the grid. Yeah, F1 safety has definitely improved since then. I mean, also track design has changed as well as a result of that. The chicanes that we now have at Imola, from the main straight through to turn 7 at Tosa, didn't used to be there until Senna died. And then they put those in to break up the speed. They even changed the configuration of the end of the circuit as well to shorten the start-finish straight a bit.
We should do some work on the brakes.
You can still see the remnants of that, where the track on the part way up the back of the grid just suddenly juts out to the left, and then straightens up again. That's actually, they might have been using that in '94 anyway. Thinking about it, but yeah, the two chicanes that we have now did not used to be there. And they were put in to reduce the speed around that corner for obvious reasons. And it's not just there. Other tracks have obviously made adjustments over the years to try and improve safety a bit. You know, better runoff areas, moving the walls further back where they can, and
Should be all clear.
for the most part, it's worked out quite well. There will always be tragic accidents, and Spa is under a lot of scrutiny right now with, you know, yet another death there this year.
You got a good gap.
There's serious talk
Yeah,
about
let's go for it.
doing something to Eau Rouge and Radion, because we've had two big accidents that have been fatal there in the last few years. And several near misses as well. And it's, do we, you know, if it was any other sequence of corners, if it wasn't Eau Rouge into Radion, would we even be having a discussion, or would it just have been done automatically? You know, there's a lot of history and what's the word I'm
So we just need to get
searching
that
for?
delta negative. And we will box.
Reverence for those corners.
Cover it.
But in wet conditions they are incredibly dangerous. And you know, like I said, if it was any other circuit that wasn't so revered, we wouldn't even be having a discussion. Changes would already have been made. So yeah. One of the biggest problems is cars aquaplane a lot more now. It's much easier for cars to aquaplane now than it used to be, because they're running so much lower to the ground, and with the new ground effects cars, you know, it's really easy to aquaplane in just a small amount of water now. It is something cars used to suffer from in the past. It kind of went away a bit, but it's definitely back with a vengeance now, and with the speed so much more than they were 20-30 years ago. Yeah, it's just a recipe for disaster. Right, can we get through on just this one run? We should be able to. Got decent pace. The Ferraris are looking pretty quick. We're sort of knocking boots with Alonso. Norris is over a second behind. I'm pretty confident we're safe. We've got, let's see, 6/10 to Tsunoda. He's not going to improve that much, so we're staying in the garage. There we go. Not stellar on the times, but we just did one lap. Tyres weren't fully heated up. That is actually a bug. So us doing the 2 laps is, as a result, it turns out it's because it's a bug. The tyres aren't heating up properly when you do single lap runs. Which is why the pace isn't fantastic. Why is George's confidence so low? Why has he got an untested setup? I didn't change his front wing. I undid the change. Didn't I? Oh, great. We've ruined George's confidence. Alright, we'll go for a 2-lap run.
Those rear brakes.
Covering.
So, getting George's confidence level up is going to be absolutely vital in this session. I don't understand what happened to his confidence level. It's back to high again. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It must be a bug somewhere. He's actually got higher confidence than Hamilton. But again, not surprising, Hamilton has a lot less car knowledge going into this Grand Prix with those new spec parts and only one session to run them in. So, let's see what times we do on our first run. Nice. Good improvement and confidence level there. He's quicker than Hamilton. A fair bit quicker than Hamilton. Hamilton's running the newer spec parts. I'm a little surprised by that. Let's see what happens on the next run. Maybe it's the confidence thing. Maybe George having that higher level of confidence has given him better boosts to his stats.
And if we can just
Russell's, yeah, Hamilton's flying on this lap. Yeah, much better lap for Hamilton. He's just taken provisional pole.
Box, and call the car.
Alright, well that should be enough, I think. Well, I don't know actually. Is that going to be enough? I suppose we better wait and see what happens with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. We'll reconfigure for another 2-lap run. Eight kilos of fuel. 8 kilos of fuel should be enough for a 2-lap run. Yeah, okay, so we're prepped and ready. How close is Russell going to be to the cutoff? I think we'll be okay, but we're going to send him out as well, just to be on the safe side. We're going to send out Hamilton as well, just to see if we can really boost them up into peak confidence and see what kind of pace they could potentially achieve in the final session if we can do enough laps. I think Hamilton might be a little close as well. We'll have to tell him to make sure he doesn't attack. Don't Right, teammate, there we go. Yeah, Russell should be safe. Looking at the lap board there, I don't think Sonoda or the Haas cars are going to improve by, you know, the 4.5, 5 tenths they're going to need to get through. We're a couple of tenths off the Red Bulls, but we're faster than the Ferraris. No improvement in the first lap. Tyres might not have enough left in them to go faster. Let's see what happens on this second run. Oh, Stroll is still to improve. I didn't see Stroll down there. Okay, so Russell should squeak through if he can't improve his time.
So you've taken the checkered flag.
Which is looking more and more likely. We've got the Alpine potentially in the way. Stroll does improve, but only just squeaks into the session. In 10th. Well, comfortably makes it through in 10th, but doesn't manage to beat Russell. And there we go. 3rd and 9th. I think the tyres just didn't have enough left in them for that second double run there. Yeah, I was saying earlier, Farah, this is one of the decent maps. It's not stellar, but it's not as bad as some of the other ones we've seen. Right, we're running a 92% setup. Okay, that's a bit odd. Can't really. I mean, I could do that, which would drop us back to a 95. But again, that would mean going into the final session with low confidence. I don't really want to do that. We'll just have to go with the 92. Don't want to mess with the confidence at this late stage. Right, we're going to do one lap on these busted ass tyres that are 4 tenths of a second slower. Just to build a baseline, so that, you know, the first lap on the second set of tyres will be quicker. And then the second lap should be even quicker still. Alright, let's send them out. Let's not ride the ham cam on a warm-up lap, otherwise I'm going to make everyone feel nauseous with the constant weaving side to side. In fact, we'll ride the onboard T-cam instead, I think. So this is just a banker lap. This is just to put a time on the board. It won't be that competitive. It's just to build, as I say, an easy baseline for our drivers to improve upon when they go out for their first lap of their 2-lap run on fresh tyres. And then the third lap should be even quicker still. And that will give them the best chance to get into peak confidence, I think, for the final attempt.
So just get that delta negative.
So there we go. Both of our drivers comfortably into the very high confidence, not too far away from peak confidence. That's what we were wanting.
Delta. So call the car, box.
So hopefully the first lap of this 2-lap run will put us into peak confidence with both of our drivers, and then the second lap will give them the best chance of really going for pole position. We can get pole, I'll be very happy, because we are going to fall down the order, I think, this Grand Prix. Right, 8 kilos of fuel each. There goes George. And there goes Lewis. So, we'll ride on board with Russell for his first qualifying lap, and then we'll ride on board with Hamilton for the second qualifying lap.
Copy.
And let's just hope we do not have traffic to deal with. Alright, off we go.
All clear ahead. Good to go.
And circuit's all clear. Good to go.
That Red Bull might get in the way. It's Verstappen on an outlap. That's not good. Which means he might get in the way here. And then he's going to re-overtake us when we're on our cooldown lap. And then we're going to have to pass him again on our second flying lap. I think we got through without any real drama there for George. Definitely improving. Can we get peak confidence? Not quite. Got him up to 7th. What about Lewis? No improvement in the middle sector for Lewis. Okay, so Lewis going in a little underbaked into the final run. I wonder what caused him to go so slow. Aston behind is on a warm-up lap, so we haven't got to worry about that. Ferrari in front's on a warm-up lap, so we haven't got to worry about that. I think there's a Red Bull in there as well. Oh god, yeah. Perez is warming up right in front of Russell. This could be good, this could be bad for George. He's going to get a hell of a slipstream. I'm going to watch this actually just to see if this really screws up his run.
All clear ahead.
I think it's going to.
And good to go.
Circuit's all clear. Good to go.
We've still got Verstappen in front as well as we come up to the to the next turn. Yeah, that has cost us a little, I think, in the middle. It's an improvement in the first sector for George. Yeah, middle sector's down. He's going to miss out on peak confidence for the final sector, unfortunately. Lewis isn't going to make it either. But he is going very quick in the middle. Russell does not improve. Got held up by Perez. Not a great quali for Russell. Hamilton goes pole. Wow. Is anyone still on the hot lap? Can we hold that? Sainz is on the fastest lap. He's improving in the first sector. Ocon's not going to do it. Ocon crosses the line and stays 7th. Sainz up in the middle sector, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we've just taken pole position. We got desperately unlucky with Russell. Perez slotting right in front of him and then ruining his lap. Sainz only improves to 5th. We've got pole. That's huge for us, that really is. Russell's going to have a bit of work to do, but the sprint will determine where he starts the racing, so he's got the chance to move up. If we can get him up to, say, 5th or 6th, that'll make all the difference for the race. If we can get him up even higher than that, that would be even better, but yeah, realistically I think getting him up to 6th might be the best we can do with George in the sprint. Does anybody have a penalty? Nobody has penalties. Evening, Mr. Water. Yeah, acerbic, that's a good word. Alright, so we're going to have rain in the sprint. Oh wait, we've got P2 first, haven't we? Alright, so the only thing I can change is the front wing angle, so let's go back to the 4.5. It will brake the front wing oversteer angle, but it should improve the braking and cornering, if I remember rightly. And that should theoretically put us on 95%, so we'll try that. And then again, we can always revert at the end of the session if it doesn't do what we hope it's going to do. We're also going to swap out the engine again, so we don't put an hour's worth of running on the good parts that are currently fitted. I got no choice with that gearbox. The 2% will certainly not last an hour's worth of running here. Driving options, we're going to go watching the pace. Run plan, we are going to go with 45 laps. And tyres, going to go with hards. And again here, we're going to go 45 laps. Right, and the only thing that we can't change Well, the thing that we can't, that we need to change, we can't change on this car setup, so that's stuck at 95%. Let's change out the parts. There we go. And we are good to go. Send them back to practice 2. Evening, Halil. Where did that pole come from? I don't know. Just Hamilton was feeling it. When Hamilton gets into peak confidence, his stats are already really high, but getting the full boost like that, or a big boost like that, really does him the power of good. And he can just do these amazing things with the car. You know, we've seen him in earlier races this season where when he's hit peak confidence, he's just started cutting through the field like a hot knife through butter. And we'll take it. I mean, Russell could have qualified higher than he did, you know, right before he started his second flying lap, which would have been the lap that would have seen him improve. Perez came out right in front of him and then just basically blocked him for his entire fast lap. So Perez did a really good lap with clean air in front of him. Russell stuck behind, was suffering with having to brake early, dirty air, and did not get the chance to improve. I think Russell could probably have made 4th or 5th had he not been blocked by Perez there. Who knows? Maybe even higher. But I think 4th, maybe 5th is probably a bit more. It's a more conservative estimate. Oh, yeah, really rough sounding car there. So just going to run the whole session like this. We're looking to get the track knowledge up. For Lewis, we're also looking to try and get the car knowledge up a bit. Oh, we've got rain.
Yeah, copy that, Lewis.
I didn't even think to check that. It's going to be into weather. We're going to need to box. We've got a couple more laps yet before we have to box. So at least try and get some more running in.
There's been a crash.
All right, we've got a turn 1 crash
here.
here.
Heading into turn 1. Tries to get by.
Oh, it's clumsy. Carbon fibre going everywhere.
Inevitable. Not at all what they would have wanted in practice.
Oh, what a surprise. Nico Hulkenberg's hit someone. My nemesis, yeah. He's now no longer known as Nico Hulkenberg. Now he's known as Nico the Bastard. He stole my first win from me. Oh, my first win with this Mercedes team. I've been absolutely crushing it with with Red Bull on the PS4. Utterly dominant. I raced Barcelona this morning and just cruised to victory on that one as well.
Nice and steady into the box.
Yep.
Alright, so this should theoretically put Russell to a 95%. Oh, 94%. Okay, so it's not quite as... It's better than 92.
Yeah, copy that.
Just. So we'll leave him at that setup. That'll do. Just trying to get those other values up now. The higher we get them, the better our driver's prep level will be going into the race. It looks too low at the moment for George. That will actually be higher. It'll actually be higher than the 80% that we've got for Lewis right now. It just hasn't updated properly yet. But it will do at the end of the session.
I got damage.
Yeah,
Crap, underfloor damage. Well, this is why we separated out the different specs of the parts for our drivers, in case they did damage a part, so that we don't have to emergency manufacture a spare part. I think we have a spare underfloor. We're not running the new one yet. Oh god, are we actually not... Do I actually have a spare underfloor? I don't know, actually. We might have to emergency manufacture an underfloor here. Really hope not, because that's going to cost us a fortune. That would probably be somewhere in the region of about 2.5 million. That's a lot of money. And we can't really spare right now. Every single penny needs to be accounted for.
it's just petering out now.
Yeah, I'm staying out on the inters.
No more rain forecast. Dry line is forming.
These tyres are going to burn up ridiculously quickly. But there's no point coming in and breaking their learning curve just for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to hope we don't have a crash. Russell's still going. Lewis is still going. It wasn't those two, that's good.
Now we're watching Max Verstappen here.
Oh, Max. Oh, yeah.
Not much
I'd like
room
to see Max have a
move.
crash.
And not just one car involved in that, as you can see.
It's a penalty. Not sure who for. Not for Max. Nico's got a penalty. Nick de Vries got the penalty for hitting Max. Bugger. I was hoping it would be the other way round. Tyres are literally melting right now at 134 degrees.
We have checkered flag now.
Let's have a look at the wear rate on those tyres. It's going to be substantial, if we can see it. Car condition. Tyres. Yeah, it doesn't show us the tyres, unfortunately. All we can see is that they are horrendously overheating. I mean, their max temperature really is only supposed to go to 105, and even that's hot. These are at 135. They are well outside their maximum operating window. So we quite literally destroyed them in just a few laps there, but doesn't matter. They were throwaway tyres. We got up to 92% for George, 91% track knowledge for Lewis. That's really good. So we have managed to recover quite a bit of good baseline confidence for the sprint. And there you go. You see both drivers very close. George right on the boundary of high confidence. Lewis just a touch below.
We're back, and the action is set to get even better today as the drivers go racing in the sprint. Well, we're going racing a little earlier this weekend, with the sprint now set to define the starting order for the Grand Prix itself.
It's not only the starting grid decided here, though. The top finishers in the sprint have the chance to score crucial championship points.
So who will reach the peak and who has a mountain to climb here at the Austrian Sprint?
Right, are we going to have rain in the sprint as well? Let's have a look. Yes, we are. That is going to make things very interesting. Is it going to be enough to need to switch to inters? I don't know. Maybe around lap 15, 16. Do I gamble and take the softs? Or do I go with the mediums, which will last the distance, but would be a waste if we don't have to switch again? Let me have a look at how many sets of tyres we've got. So I've got 2 sets of mediums, I've got 4 sets of softs. Let's go soft. No guts, no glory. Setup is locked in. Fuel is not going to change. We do need to swap out the parts though. We need to put the good bits back in. Got that big expense of new ERS units coming up soon. Right, for Lewis, again, onto softs. Do we have a spare underfloor? Yes. Just. Ooh. Okay. Car parts. So better engine, better ERS. Better gearbox. Can't believe we're on gearbox number 3 for Lewis already. Fuel's not going to change. Driving options, we are going to go aggressive off the line. We want Lewis to try and maintain position. We want George to try and gain positions if we can. So let's see. Let's go to the sprint.